Next, we're going to move on to Unit 2, which is linear equations. So on this one, we're going to use the 5 steps that we learned in class. So number 1 is eliminate parentheses. Number 2, combine like terms. Three, move variables to one side. 4, add and subtract. 5, multiply, divide. So we're going to start with number 1. So on this one here, we're going to start with eliminate parentheses, which just means to distribute. So 2 times y is 2y. 2 times 3 is 6. And that equals negative 2y plus 6 plus 4y. So that's our first step. Second step is combine like terms. So on this side, I don't have any like terms, but on this side, I have negative 2y plus 4y. So this will become 2y plus 6 equals negative 2y plus 4y is 2y. So we have 2y plus 6 equals 2y plus 6. Our third step is move variables to one side. So I'll take this one over here. And to move it to the other side, I subtract 2y. So those will cancel out, and we get 2y minus 2y equals 0. So I have 0 plus 6 equals 6. Then our last step here is add or subtract. So I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. So we get 0 equals 0. So anytime that your variables cancel out, you know it's either going to be no solution or infinitely many solutions. But since 0 does equal 0, this one will be infinitely many solutions. If these two numbers were not equal, it would be no solution. For number 10, we're going to use our same steps. So we start by eliminating parentheses. But this time we have 2 sets of parentheses. So I'm first going to have 0.25 times x. So that's 0.25x. Now 0.25 times 12. So 0.25 is the same as 1/4. So 1/4 times 12 is going to be plus 3. And that's going to equal 3 plus, now 0.5 times x is 0.5x. 0.5 times negative 10. That's basically 0.5 is a half. So 1/2 times negative 10 is negative 5. Now, second step, combine like terms. On the left side, we don't have any like terms, so we're going to leave that one the same. But on the right side, we have a 3 and a negative 5. So when I add those together, 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Third step, move variables to one side. So I'm going to pick the smaller one to move. So I'm going to subtract 0.25x. So minus 0.25x. So we end up with 3 equals 0.5x minus 0.25x is 0.25x. And then we keep that minus 2. Our fourth step is to add and subtract. So I'm going to take this minus 2 and I'm going to add it to the other side. So plus 2. So then this is going to become 3 plus 2 is 5 equals 0.25x. Now we just have to multiply and divide for our last step. So I'm going to divide everything by 0.25. So 5 divided by 0.25 gives us 20 equals x. So that is our answer for that one. For the next ones, we're going to keep doing the same steps. So for number 1, our first step is eliminate parentheses. So I have 5 times w is 5w, 5 times 3 is 15. Then I keep minus 9. And then there are no parentheses on the right, so I just rewrite negative 3w plus 2w. Second step, combine like terms. So we have like terms on the left, this 15 and the negative 9. So we end up with 5w. 15 minus 9 is 6. Negative 3w plus 2w is negative 1w. Third step is move variables to one side. So since I only have variables on this side, I'm going to move this 5w. So I'll subtract 5w. So I get 6 equals negative 6w. Then our last step here, we'd have nothing to add or subtract. So multiply and divide. So I'm going to divide everything by a negative 6. So 6 divided by negative 6 is negative 1. So negative 1 equals w. And that's our answer. For number 12, same steps. So first I distribute. So I have 0.75 t. Now 0.75 times 4, when you put that in your calculator, if you don't know what this is really like 0.75 is 3/4. So if you put that in the calculator, it should give you negative 3. And then we have 0.5 times t. And then 0.5 times 20 is a positive 10. So our second step is combine like terms. So 0.75t. Now we have negative 3 and negative 1 here. We're going to combine those to get negative 4. So 0.75t minus 4 equals 0.5t plus 10. Third step is move variables to one side. So I subtract 0.5t. So 0.75 minus 0.5 is 0.25t minus 4 equals 10. Fourth step is add or subtract. So I'm going to add this 4 to both sides. So this will become 0.25t equals 14. Now we divide by 0.25. Again, you can do this in your calculator. You get t equals 56. So that would be our final answer there. And that is the end of solving equations.